Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh, Call Haloim Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and salutations to the true and sincere Akim that's out here preaching and teaching this truth in truth and sincerity. This is the brother Tazayar coming from Great Millstone, Indiana Camp in Gary, here to give all praises once again to Yahweh Basham Yahushai. Alright, and this lesson is going to go into an article that I was just touching on a little bit with the affairs that's going on in Babylon the Great and the Iranian strike that just happened. All right. And we're in that time where, we're walking into Jacob's trouble. And as we're walking into Jacob's trouble, we're also walking into that third woe, as the scripture says we was going to walk into. And this is Revelations 11. I'm going to get straight to the point. The second, 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. And so I did a Google search, and the third woe, the last woe was it turned it off. Okay. The last war was 1945 is when it ended. All right. 1945 is when it ended, and that had to be about 80 years ago. It hasn't even been a whole century, a whole 100 years. All right, before the third World War presented itself. So, as the scripture just said, the second woe passed and the third woe cometh quickly, and that is quick for a whole nother world war to be in effect, because you got to understand there was so much casualty and death in that last war. We're gonna take the airplane mode off for a quick second. There was so much casualty and pain in that third war, and this is what they labeled it. World War II, which began in 1939 and ended in 1945, was the deadliest and most destructive war in history. Now that's what Google just got done saying. It just said it was the most deadliest and most destructive war in history. And why is that? Because they dropped them bombs over Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So it's been labeled that, and not only because of that, it was death everywhere. All right, all around the world. Okay, so this third world's war is going to be even more devastating than the second one, because now Babylon the Great isn't the only kingdom that is capable of thermonuclear missile, all right, warfare. All the other nations now have this capability, all right, which puts America, Babylon the Great, in danger, all right. Let's jump into this article. And the article is Iran delivers new furious threat to U.S. after Trump strikes. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi delivered blistering remarks on Sunday as he responded to the overnight strikes conducted by the U.S. And they call them strikes because they're trying to hide the fact that it was really an act of war. all right, because the strikes mean, oh, we completed a mission, and it wasn't us committing a war, but it was us committing an act. However, that act was still against their policies to be able to do such a thing. They didn't take this thing up with Congress. All right. Trump has yet again went without going to Congress and asking for the permission to do what he did. He just did what he did overnight and called it a strike. And what it really is, it was an act of war. All right. Walking us into what that third war is we was just going into. This is conducted by the U.S., which overseen by President DT, targeted 3 key Iranian nuclear sites. Arghachi warned of everlasting, dangerous, and far-reaching consequences for what the Iranian foreign minister called an egregious act of aggression and heinous crime. So the other nations are mad, man. They're mad, man, and Iran, Iran is looking at the U.S. and he's and they're mad that now that they actually have the opportunity to create their own, missiles and defense and things of that sort, the U.S. is stepping in. Now, this is all prophecy. All right, this is all prophecy. And it's going to continue to unroll before our eyes. This Arghachi delivered his response in a speech at the 51st session of the Council of Foreign Ministers of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation in Istanbul, and also via a series of online posts. Yep. The warmongering and lawless administration in Washington is solely and fully responsible for the dangerous consequences and far-reaching implications of its acts of aggression, Arghachi said. The U.S. military aggression against the territorial integrity, and national sovereignty of a UN member state, and that's another thing, carried out in collision with the genocidal Israeli regime, once again laid bare the depth of depravity that governs American foreign policy and revealed the extent of hostility harbored by the U.S. ruling establishment against the peace-seeking and independence-loving people of Iran. Wow. So they're saying that the acts that the United States has done was not only lawless, right, but it's also against their position with them being in the UN, and he's calling out to the UN now for support, right? And so, with that being said, of course, that being said, this is what's gonna draw them all in, right? This is Joel 3. I'm gonna start at 9, and it reads, "Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong." So now that all the other nations have thermonuclear missile capability, they're not gonna just sit here and allow this Edomite to rule over them the way that he once did, because it was a devastating thing to see to see the atomic bombs being dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. All right, back around that time, man, that shook the world. Okay, and now that kept the other nations in compliance with Babylon the Great for an extended amount of time, well, all the way up to 80 years. But now we have a situation where the other nations is like, no, we have this too. North Korea been threatening it. Russia, of course, China, and so now Iran was trying to put his hand in the race because of the deal that America had with the Iranians. All right, they wasn't able to produce or manufacture any missiles, but now that contract that they had came to an end, and currently right now they're going against Israel, which Israel is that little horn that was going to bring in Babylon the Great into the war, man. It was going to be the horn that pulled Babylon the Great into this war. And, essentially that's the hooks that's going to be in the jaws of Gog and Magog, which, that's basically the line, the land, the name of the land that Russia currently is established in, Gog and Magog, was going to be pulled out, and now they're going to be forced to partake into the war. All right, because there's certain allies that is being attacked that Russia has to come in and step in and actually defend. The same as America is trying to defend Israel. So, there's a lot of big pieces being moved around the board that's already making this thing what it's going to be, man. It's inevitable. All right, this thing that's going to happen is inevitable. So continually reading verse 11. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Yahweh. Let the heathen be wakened, and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, the land of judgment. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. So this is really the Lord's plan, right? He's the one that's drawing these heathen into the Middle East, as they would say, to cause to cause this to be a thing, man. All right, because the Lord is going to showcase His power. These people are lining up to get into the valley of Jehoshaphat. War is coming. All right, but the one who's going to be king of all kings is going to be who? Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. All right, Yahweh is going to send Yahweh Shai down to the earth to what? To gain His glory. All right. Go back into this article. It reads, the Iranian politician went on to request an emergency meeting of the UN Security Council, citing a violation of the UN Security Council Resolution 2020-31. Salakia. That's how you know I'm tired. It says Security Council Resolution 2231, and threatened that silence on this matter will only worsen the situation. Silence in the face of such blatant aggression will plunge the world into an unprecedented level of danger and chaos, he warned. And they call it for arms. They call it for Esau to be judged, man, on a world scale. All right, Iran's President Musa Pezeshkian has also condemned the Trump order strikes and referred to the U.S. as the primary instigator. This aggression showed that the United States is the primary instigator of the Zionist regime's hostile actions against the Islamic Republic of Iran. Pezeshkian said although they initially tried to deny their role after our armed forces' decisive and deterrent response in the Zionist regime's clear incapacity, they were inevitably forced to enter the field themselves. That's calling this devil out, man. Calling this devil out. And this is what we've been waiting for, you know. Meanwhile, you got Jake being confused on what the MOTB is about the time of Jacob's trouble, about uh World War III. All of this is being showcased, man. About the names of Yahweh. We got all this confusion going on in Israel, and I'm talking about the children of Israel, us Israelites, man. What we got going on amongst each other. But look at what's going on right now, man. Peanuts to what's really happening, man. In these times, man, the Lord is not playing. And you niggas gonna have to get it right, man, because destruction is imminent and it's coming. And if you don't get it right, man, and here it is, the prophecies is rolling out, they're gonna be destroyed. All right? Now it's not the time to be straining at the nets or be trying to, overthrow. Here it is. The prophets is prophesying, man. The words of the Lord is being published throughout the world, is being brought out. Niggas is simple, man. It pisses me off, man. This is Pezeshkian urged the public to come together in the face of the attacks from Israel and the U.S. It says prior to the initial Israeli strikes on Iranian nuclear and military targets on June 13th, conducted amid a growing concern over Iran's nuclear capabilities. Once again, they use that word strike because they're not trying to say for what it is. It was an act of treason, and it was a step to, it was an act of war. All right. Iran and the U.S. had been engaging in talks surrounding a potential nuclear deal. Those talks were suspended in light of the active conflict, and it remains to be seen if they will get back on track. See, they trying to, water this thing down, but what they're really doing is trying to keep the public calm and keep everybody from panicking. But what's really actually happening behind closed doors is these guys are gearing up and getting booted to get prepared for the war. All right. So, all you YNs get ready to get deployed because it's coming. It says, but Aragachi said diplomacy is no longer an option following the U.S. military action. They crossed a very big red line by attacking nuclear facilities. We have to respond based on our legitimate right for self-defense, he says. So, yeah, all that talk is out the window, man. These heathens, they want action, all right? I know it's in Revelations. This is Revelation 17. And I'm going to start at I'm going to start at 15. And he said to me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make it. And that was going into the UN. Now, man, Iran just called over to the UN like, hey, look at what these people just did. Who is the whore? The whore is Babylon the Great. All right. So they like, hey, look at what this woman just did, man. Look at how they just violated our treaties and our terms, man. For us to be under one united rulership, right? It said, these shall hate the whore, yeah, because they're truce breakers, treaty breakers. they're liars, they're deceptive, they're murderers, they're robbers, they're thieves, they're killers. The whole world is tired of America, aka Babylon the Great, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. All right. So this is what the whole world is planning on doing with Babylon the Great. It says, "For God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of God shall be fulfilled." So at one point in time, which was going into World War II, 80 years has passed just about, and all the other nations agreed to Babylon the Great being the head nation for a time, as it just said. But now the sins of Esau Edom have reached into the heavens, man, and now the Lord is setting the stage for a sacrifice, an offering. And America, aka Babylon the Great, is that great sacrifice. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. And it's not Trump showing you that he is the king of the earth by bypassing all these laws that was set in order for them to be in a treaty. And notice that if any other nation would have done this, all the other nations would have jumped into a rage, and actions would have already been taken in place. But because it's America, they're trying to go through a system before they completely all act on it. You know what I mean? So this goes to show you that Trump sits on the throne as the king of the earth. Well, really, he's just a puppet, for the real kings of the earth, which is the elite, of course. However, Babylon the Great is where the throne is at, and they're showcasing that. And all the other nations is fed the fuck up, and they ready for war, man. He just said it. They done crossed a very big red line. They're not trying to talk about this anymore. Aragachi's warnings at the council meeting somewhat mirrored the initial reaction he shared via social media. The events this morning are outrageous and will have everlasting consequences. You're not talking peace at all, man. And that's what Trump tried to say at the end. Hey, it's going to go into it. Each and every member of the UN must be alarmed over this extremely dangerous, lawless, and criminal behavior. And what is Esau Edom? He's a vagabond and he's a fugitive, man. This nigga is on the run, and now the whole world is aimed at this horde, man. Aragachi said in the early hours of Sunday morning, in accordance with the UN Charter and its provisions, allowing a legitimate response in self-defense, Iran reserves all options to defend its sovereignty, interest, and people. Yep. Meanwhile, Trump has referred to the U.S. attack on 3 key Iranian nuclear sites as very successful. The U.S. launched a series of B-2 stealth bombers, some of which are reported as moving across the Pacific on Saturday, hours before the strikes were announced, and targeted the sites in Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. A full payload of bombs was dropped on the primary site, Fordow. All planes are safely on their way home. Congratulations to our great American warriors. This is not another military in the world that could have done this. Now is the time for peace, Trump said in his initial action. And this is just a play on words. We all know that that's reverse psychology. You went and you bombed another people's land, and now, as you finish bombing them, you're calling out for peace. But there shall be no peace. As we just got done reading, the Lord is gathering these people into the land of Jehoshaphat, man, for what? For war. All right, and the weak is starting to say what? That I am strong. Everyone is hating the great whore at this point, man. What it says, she's going to be destroyed by fire. All right, and what is that fire, man? The instrument of war that the Lord created, man. Let's grab that. Because it's not the heathen's will to do what they're doing right now. This is all Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, man. And pretty soon the whole world is going to come and they're going to witness the powers of the Lord, man. It's really me, man. Man, it's a lot, yeah, you know. Really having it, man. No matter how tired I am at this point, I should have never had 57, not 54. I was in the right place. So, like, yeah, I can bear with me, man. Yeah, there's been a lot going on. This is Isaiah 54. And I'm gonna start straight at the point 15. Behold, they shall surely gather together, but not by me. Whosoever shall gather together against thee shall fall by thy sake, for thy sake. Verse 16, behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals and the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. And I have created the waster to destroy. So the Lord is saying that he created the smith that blows the coals and the fire, and then he created the instrument that came forth out of his work. All right. And he said, I've created the waster to destroy. That's that missile, man. Verse 17, no weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of Yahweh, and their righteousness is of me, saith Yahweh. So, hey, that's the point being made right there, man. All right. The Lord created the smith that bloweth the coals and the fire, man. This is all his doing. All right. So we're not finna give the credit to these heathens for being able to create these missiles, man, because the Lord is who created these missiles, man. All right. And it's for his purpose. All right. You know, his instruments, man. This is the Lord's indignation upon the earth, man. Which, I'm really having. This is Revelations 14:10, and it like I said, this is the Lord's indignation, man. The same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. Now, it's talking about those that received that MOTB. However, though, this is the weapons of the Lord's indignation. There you go. It's escaping me, man. I just woke up and just got straight to doing the work, man. This is Isaiah 13:5, and this is what I was really trying to get. But let me start up. This is start at the top. This is Isaiah 13. And we'll start at 1. The burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos did see. Lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain, exalt the voice unto them, shake the hand, that they may go into the gates of the nobles. Now it's talking about the children of Israel. We're supposed to be what? Putting everything that the Lord said upon a high banner, okay, on the mountain. All right, we're supposed to be what? Shaking the hand towards our people, so they may have the opportunity to repent and go into the gates of the nobles. But what more do it also say? In verse 3, I have commanded my sanctified ones. All right, so there's only the sanctified goes to the anointed. So the Lord has commanded his anointed ones to be able to say these things, right? I have also called my mighty ones from mine anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. All right. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. Yahweh of hosts mustereth the host of the battle. See, they come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even Yahweh, and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. That's what Amos was seeing, man. And that's what's going to behold this earth, man, especially Babylon the Great. Howl ye, for the day of Yahweh is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. So the Lord is the one that's going to be getting all the credit and all the glory for the fire that's going to come down on this place, man. It's going to be Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. It's not going to be the other nations, because the Lord created the smith that bloweth the coals and the fire. And he's the one that's mustering a host for the battle that's to come, man. This is Isaiah 9. Start at start oh wow. This is mighty, man. It's going all the way in it. It's going all the way in it. But I'm gonna get straight to the point. Verse 5, it says, for every battle of the warriors with confused noise and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. So, hey, the Lord made it a plain statement to say that, hey, he's the one that's mustering a host of the armies together, and this war is going to be not by just the confused noise, but also by the fuel of fire, man. And that's what this whole world is threatened by, man. The thermonuclear missiles. All right. Man, it's prophecy playing out in plain day, man. Go down some, man, cause this just DJ bumping his gums. It says and this is how you know that they're still trying to stand in that land and do them people more harm. It says Hexeth said the U.S. is hopeful the attack of Iran's Fordo facility achieved destruction of capabilities. However, Jin Kane was clear that it is way too early to comment on whether Iran still retains some of its nuclear capabilities, as investigations and debriefs are ongoing. The pair also said the U.S. is taking proactive steps to, and they put proactive in quotation mark, steps to protect U.S. troops in the Middle East region. The U.S. strikes mark a significant turning point in the Israel/Iran conflict. The U.S. is no longer supporting Israel from afar, but are now active participants in an extensive military operation aiming to stifle Iran's nuclear capabilities. So now America is known as being all the way in this thing. So now America can't hide in the shadows and throw rocks and hide his hands. No, it's all the way in this thing now, man. As the world awaits to see what Iran's next move will be, Trump issued a stark warning to the Middle Eastern country, telling them not to retaliate to the U.S. strikes. Because, mind you, Israel started all of this. So now the other nations wasn't in agreement with, stepping in and defending Israel. But now that America has come in and did what it's done, it's been an act of a treaty with America and Israel, and a dishonorable act with Babylon the Great and the UN. Any retaliation by Iran against the United States of America will be met with force far greater than what was witnessed tonight. And this is Trump on one, man. Trump said in a charged social media post, Hegseth doubled down on this point on Sunday morning, saying it would be a very bad idea for Iran or its proxies to attempt to attack American forces. Meanwhile, Israel and Iran continue to trade deadly missiles 10 days into their active conflict. Israel's military said Iran launched a fresh wave of missiles towards the country following the U.S. strikes, which basically saying they still had retaliation against Israel even after Babylon the Great sent the missiles over there and dropped the bombs on the plants. So what this is saying, man, we're in a place of no return. All right, this ball is going to continue to move forward. Prophecies is going to continue to roll out, and destruction for this current world is at hand. But the upcoming of Jacob's kingdom, all right, Israel's kingdom is being established. All right, so hey. The Lord is he's multifold in all things that he do, man. He kills more than 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 birds with one stone, man. We're seeing a lot of things happening at one time, man. It's really hard to keep up with all of it, but it's the Lord, man, that we're dealing with, man. He's coming. He's coming, and he's coming for those who believe in him in truth and sincerity, or who's actually here for the right reasons, man. Who want to serve him and honor him, and bring out this prophecy to warn his people, So with that, man, we want to give all praise, glory, worship, and honor unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Kakorash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well. And salutations to the true and sincere Akim that's out here preaching and teaching the truth and truth sincerity, man. And it's almost over with. Keep on pushing Akim. Shalom.